Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Isura, and I'm going to be playing with the new 2nd US Marine Division. As you can see, the game is underway. I know it's been a bit of a while since I've done a replay commentary, so it's good to be back doing these once again. I will try and do them more frequently, but yeah, we've got plenty of divisions to go through for Landjet, so I'm sure that won't be a problem. Let's have a quick look at what we got going down. So we've got the UH-1N DAS, which comes with those Hydra rockets. It's currently carrying some force recon to the front. Those are hoping to take some key positions. So these buildings here, we've got those buildings there, and I've also landed one on the left already. And those have attack move orders afterwards set up, so they take off again and engage enemy troops. I've also got the LAV here moving up. That's going to be bringing in some scouts, currently trying to shoot down the Mi-17s. One of them's going to get taken out by a Hornet, and the second one going to be getting away by the skin of its teeth as the Bushmaster fails to finish the job. The rockets firing away on the right hand side. I've also brought in my own Tomcat, as you can see, the MiG-29 hovering around on the backside as a prime target for the Tomcat. It's great to see these finally joining the game. This is going to come in, it's going to engage the Mi-17, and the Phoenixes are going to be unleashed on the MiG-29 there. That's meanwhile going to be engaged by the Praga, and that's end up going down. Got some Marines moving into the trees here, the USMC Riflemen. They have the Law, which is able to probably take out these units at close range, but not quite close enough to get the job done there at the moment. I've also got one of these units in, the LAV, which has the electronic systems on it, so it has SIGINT trait, which allows me to identify if there are enemies within this circle, and you can see like within we got two circles here. So one is a jammer trait, which cancels artillery correction within the red circle and prevents GSR activation, and then the SIGINT trait is this blue circle. Since the circle is blue at the moment, it shows me that there is enemies within that circle. It's not going to be too useful as I'm moving forwards at the moment, but I'm just trying to use it for the very good optics, and it's going to get sniped by the T-72. So Force Recon bumping into the Ginista there, going to be doing okay, because they do have the Special Forces shock trait, so they do have a potential to win that engagement. But since there's more than one squad, I don't want to push my luck there, so we're going to be falling back, and same deal here. Ginista, we don't want them to get too close because they'll be able to use satchels, and I'm just going to want to make sure I've got enough numbers on target to be able to engage that infantry. So we're bringing up some reinforcements, M60 on the way. This is the upgraded M60 with a 23 penetration at 1,925 meters. These things are very, very nasty at close range. So we'll watch that with bated breath. But meanwhile, the Yashturka has come through, engaged the Riflemen and the Force Recon. Unfortunately, we're just completely outnumbered there. 2 Ginista, grenade launcher, Yashturka, 2 T-55s, and the OT-64 just ripping those squads to pieces. Definitely got them caught out there, and I'm left a little bit with my pants down at the moment. So more Riflemen rushing to the front in their M35 trucks. And I do have a Humvee coming up. I'm going to leave that by the iHawk. I had accidentally brought that in because I had intended to instead buy the new LARC 60 Cargo, which is like a massive amphibious vehicle with like 10,000 supply on it. It's basically a mobile fob, and we'll see that shortly. But yeah, I thought since I brought it in, I'll leave it by the iHawk, and that's going to make the iHawk 3 veterancy, pushing it up to 70% accuracy. Which makes it very, very deadly indeed, especially if aircraft come closer, because if you haven't played WARNO for a while, they did change it so that AA, when you get closer to it, it is more accurate now. So my M60 is trying to move up here and get shots onto the T-72. Unfortunately, my other M60 gets popped by the T-55s on the left before I'm able to kind of save it. I was having it on the back side of that tree line to avoid the T-72 engaging at close range, and when the T-72 drove towards it, I was hoping to get the side shot in, just like the Riflemen are here with their Law against the T-72. 3 quick shots, 3 quick hits, and the T-72 goes down. Lovely stuff. Force Recon have been trying to move up on the backside here. I'm going to move them back towards this road so that I can potentially pick off some reinforcements if they come by. And you'll see now that the LARC cargo has arrived. Look at this thing. It's taken up the entire road. It's got that 10,000 supply, and that chap in the back there is slowly driving it into position so that we can use it as a forward fob for my helicopters, because we did lose one of these helicopters. This one's used up all its rockets, so we're going to be able to land that and get it some more ammo. So now we got the USMC riflemen engaging the Janista, and these big squads of riflemen are very, very good. I really think they are fantastic value, and the lore in this case is good enough to take out the OT-64, so we're not going to have to worry about that either. My assaultmen, however, they are struggling against the Janista at close range. The satchel getting on target there is going to hit them very hard. The M60 missed the Yashturka at that range, which means the assaultmen are going to go down very quickly to those units. So you can see I'm getting very, very pushed in here, struggling to keep enough units on the front line. My opponent, Obama, here is definitely bringing the pain, but the riflemen starting to win the engagement on the left is nice, and the M60's in a pretty nasty position here. It's kind of blocked from further line of sight, so anything has to come in close, and that means that we have nice penetration against those targets. In this case, again, the M60 let me down on the accuracy and the T-72 not, so I'm losing out on that engagement as well. So I'm now going to be reliant on the new Super Cobra with the Hellfire. So this is the Marine helicopter, and that's going to be having a go at trying to take out the T-55. Here comes the ATGMs, the Hellfires. Not quite hitting the mark as I would like so far. One in front, one behind, and I'm going to have to constantly move that forward to try and get another shot on target. Finally, one hits the mark and up it goes. Brought in some engineers here. These have the M60E3 machine gun. So in a static engagement, they can pump out some extra DPS. And the nice thing about this is it is able to be fired on the move. So a lot of engineers, especially the Soviet engineers, have machine guns that cannot be fired on the move. And it's kind of annoying, but with the engineers here in this case, they do have one that can be fired on the move that's still pretty powerful, and so you're going to be able to run on top of units with the satchel in a 1v1. That's certainly something you're going to want to do. If there's more than one unit against you, you generally don't want to run on the enemy infantry because you're going to die before you get there most of the time. Anyway, USMC assaultmen getting into position with their s'mores. Fantastic ambush position here. Jump in the building. Managed to take out the OT-65 and the Yashturka. Now trying to take out the T-72, and that gets picked off by the Super Cobra on the backside after taking damage from these other forces. And now the s'more, it has both HE and AP rounds, so able to also help engage the Visitkari here that we've managed to find. I was a bit worried seeing them run across here and not able to kill them, so I was making sure to clear out this area of forest before they can contest our sector. But I've got some Harriers now coming in. I wanted to try these out. So these are equipped with 16 Zunis, and they're looking to actually engage the Yashturkas, as those are going to be having trouble getting targeting on the Harriers. So you can see here, both those Harriers managed to aim and rocket the Yashturkas before the Yashturka could even fire, which is fantastic. So I'm going to come back around here and try and get the second run onto the Yashturka. Already being fixed up though. Lovely rocket run finishes the job. So both of those AA pieces are dealt with, and that's going to open up the skies for more rocket play, which allows me to move up these rocket Hueys that I've been using since the start of the game. And any infantry left out in the open is going to take a lot of damage. We're also going to be shooting down a MiG-29 there as the Tomcat comes in to cover us. They fire both the Phoenix and the Sparrow very, very quickly. And here we can see the rockets going into hard targets, which isn't ideal. I should have really retargeted them on the Visitkari there to make sure that we finish off that squad. And we're trying to move forwards on the left-hand side, unfortunately taking fire from the OT-64 and the T-55, so we're going to have to fall back, bring over the Super Cobra once again to get some more Hellfires on target. I do want to make sure that I kill that T-55 if I can. He's going to have a reasonably limited amount of those, so we're just going to keep up the pressure with the Hellfires. Unfortunately, the Hellfires in this case, they are semi-active, so if they move out of range, it's going to be difficult for me to get the shot on target. But you can fire them and then chase the target if they move out of range, and you might still hit. So that is something I'm trying to take advantage of there, as you see my helicopter moving backwards and forwards. Engineers finishing off the Vizicati there, and we're able to find the OT-64, so we're doing a good job now of cleaning up this area and starting to kind of stabilize our front line. It was a very tense opener for my forces because the rocket helicopters didn't get as much value. It was funny, just before this game I played another game where we won pretty fast. I had a perfect opener. I was like, oh, if I could have shown that one up, it would have been epic. Because I feel like in 1v1, using these rocket helicopters is going to be a thing that is done quite frequently. Like a lot of rocket helicopter openers, like both from the American division here and also the, I think it's the Soviet Marine Division, also has an Mi-24 that can forward deploy, and they're really, really disgusting. So you can get a lot of value out of these helicopters, but you can see here I'm still getting value retroactively after the start of the game, helping clean up 2 Janista there and an OT-64. So do not sleep on the Hydra rocket helicopters. I've also got a recon one here that has the 2 machine guns and the Hydra 70 on it as well. Super Cobra going to be able to take out BVP for me, and the M60 currently engaging the T-72. See, as long as you're in range, this 23 penetration is very deadly. Taking out one of the Ushturka there. Ushturka is kind of struggling for range against the Super Cobra a little bit. Like, this is a 2,800 meter range HGM, and he's only got 2,650 meter range on the Ushturka, so we can hit those with Hellfires out of range if we're careful. But the M60 cleans up the second one, so I'm happy with my position at the moment. It's just, overall in the game, things are not looking too hot. We are losing a +4 to the enemy at the moment, and so I'm going to bring in some troops further to the right-hand side to help kind of give Kamandara a base of fire. So I'm bringing up a TOW 2. I thought it would be useful to kind of help cover the open a little bit, and I'm also bringing up an M60 to provide a bit of fire support here into this sector as he attempts to push in and take that back. Force Recon falling back here. You'll notice I've also been messing around with some LAI scouts. These guys are just like 4-man units, but they bring in the LAV. So I've been dropping a few of those across. You see I've got one on the right here, another one on the right, and then one on the left, just to kind of cover the flanks. And then the LAVs are going to be moving forwards with those Bushmaster cannons to try and find some targets. I'm also bringing up the helicopters here. I was hoping to maybe get line of sight onto some of the infantry that was attempting to push forwards. One of the LAVs actually finds and kills the OT-65, so that was nice. The second LAV, unfortunately, suffers a very different fate and goes down to the enemy infantry in the tree line there. I've also brought up some artillery, and some of you might be aware that the artillery rework is in effect. After the Landjet DLC came out, they dropped the artillery rework with it, which means the artillery now needs to pack and unpack in order to fire. And what this basically means is there's more opportunity to counterbattery your opponents. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So you do need to be very careful now with when you fire, what you're firing at, sort of keeping an eye on how much artillery your opponent has. In this case, I'm going to be trying to engage these artillery pieces back here, and I should be able to aim and fire just before they unpack, but the travel time of the shell might give them enough time to move. So that's kind of like where it's at right now. If you're far enough away, you often have time to react. If you're too close, then you will not have any time to react at all, and you'll most likely die to counterbattery pretty quickly, which makes mortars kind of difficult to use at the moment, but I think they're probably going to keep adjusting it as we move on. Anytime I see an enemy, what I was going to say is anytime I see an aircraft at the moment, bringing out the Tomcat, so that's what you just saw there. Janista engaging the rifleman. the numbers advantage here is huge. I also have triple MG, like M249s, whereas all these Janista, they only have the Scorpions, which have a limited range, decent DPS, but the machine guns really help me out massively here to win those engagements. The only thing I really want to avoid is taking free fire from over here, so the Motostrati and the OT-64. Putting extra shots into the side of this engagement is really not something I want, so I'm trying to avoid that as best I can. Engineers moving through here. We're currently just chasing down the Reserve Descent Rashitka. Kill those. And Tomcat's still hanging about. Fortunately, one of my Harriers came in to help rocket some of this stuff, but ended up getting banged by an enemy radar AA, so I decided to avoid bringing the second into that fight. OT-64 is running me down, so I'm going to make sure that I stop to let the Law fire, because the Law can't fire on the move, so I'm going to make sure I stop in order to get that kill. It's really cool seeing the Tomcats again in the game. Just unleashing Phoenixes at maximum range. Sending off one to the Tupolev 22, sending one to the Su-17s. We're able to take out one of the Su-17s with the cluster, so that's a nice kill. Second one going to be able to get out alive in the Tupolev there. Did get shot down by a combination of the Hornet and AA, I believe. So nice air kills for our team. Taking out those Tupolevs, especially like the big bombers, they're really strong at the moment. So scary unit taken care of is fantastic. M60. Helping clean up some infantry on the right-hand side here. You can see I've got it on an attack move order. It's just moving into this tree line so that we can break down some of the infantry that's got a hold in that position. Totu's in a nice spot now. So since we can contest this with Kamandara, we briefly brought it down to a +2, but now back to the +4 because Taki's kind of struggling to hold in this position. So yeah, we're still in a bit of a predicament team-wise, but I've managed to stabilize my front, which I'm happy with, and now I can continue to try and assist on the flanks. I've got another second unit of artillery, and you can see there on the back how it's setting up. There's no animation for it as far as I'm aware, but when they stop, they start setting up, and then you can aim and fire them, and then before you move, you have to unpack, or repack, I should say. It's like setting up and then packing up. LAV finding the Eagler there on the backside, gets some brief shots on target, but not enough to finish the job. So I'm going to have to be careful with these helicopters. I've also got a mortar here. I actually kind of forgot to use this throughout the game. I'm going to be honest, it does happen. Because I am spreading out units quite a lot. You'll notice here I've got an M60 engaging with these infantry, whilst I've also got over on the other side of the map the Super Cobras coming over to try and help Taki out. So I've got one with the Seed now. This has the sidearm missiles on the side, looking very cool. They can target radar AA. Unfortunately for me, it looked like the enemy for the most part was using a lot of infrared, so you can see like Iglus, Strela 10Ms, so that's not going to be particularly useful, but the Super Cobra with the AT can pick off any units that overextend, like any tanks and such. And we did manage to get the rockets into position there to help kill off a couple of the Motostrati, so that was nice for me as my blob of infantry starts to move forwards once again. I think we are going to see infantry blobbing a little bit more now, because countering infantry blobs with artillery is much less of a thing. Like bombers are still very strong, so we will see like HE bombers certainly be a thing. But rocket artillery used for taking down infantry blobs is something that might be much easier to counter now with artillery. So you might see less of it, or if somebody attempts to do so, there's a good chance that we're going to be able to counter it. So 22 getting a good hit there on the T-55. Harrier coming in on the left. I gave it a rocket order onto the Strela 10M to see if we could kill one. Didn't quite do the job. And now I'm going to be bringing my Super Cobras all the way back over to the right to kind of assist myself, because I noticed there was a lot of armor starting to build up again on this area. So I'm going to be putting down some fire from the M110s, just try and make sure that we can suppress the forces in that tree line. And I'm giving a move order like straight after they fire, so they will pack and move immediately, which is very, very important now. Make sure you are doing that. Big hit from the Ihawk there, manages to take out the Su-25 before it manages to drop its bombs. So massive, massive hit, because my concentration of infantry here would have suffered massively. Unfortunately, I didn't have the scouts on return fire, or if I did, they probably got spotted by infantry, so they ended up dying. I've also got the A6E coming over. Cheeky intruder with its Maverick manages to take out enemy target in the tree line here. Nice tank kill, going up in flames like that. The scout helicopter gets taken out, and I'm going to send the second AT missile over here to this Strela 10M to see if we can shut that down, but no luck with the second Maverick. Kamandara are providing supply, which will sort out my Ato 2 eventually and allow it to continue providing support on that side. I brought up a tank onto the left side, our leader tank that's going to be attempting to get into this sector in order to contest it so that we can take away the other +2, because things are getting a little too close for comfort in the team score. So just trying to continue to secure this tree line, and you can see that I'm just constantly using the USMC riflemen. I just think they are fantastic. You can get a variant of them with the AT4s, but you don't see me bring them until later on. They do have the Amtrak with them. In this case, just the truck with the USMC is just a really cost-efficient infantry unit. And I'm currently leading it with 2 of these scout units that are just kind of here to see what's around and prevent my infantry from being shot in the tree lines unnecessarily. I did end up having to smoke this M60. Still quite a lot here, and these T-55s, they do have the Bastion HDGem, so able to engage from quite a distance. Tomcat just floating around on the backside here is going to be looking for a shot onto the Su-25 AA. We send 2, 3 Phoenixes. Unfortunately, only 1 hits the mark. I'm going to have to get out of there because enemy AA flying out of this Troy line is certainly very scary. Force recon, finished off. We'll leave my left flank a little bit blind for the time being. I've moved in an M60 here as well, as you can see. Unfortunately, the T-55s are going to get the better of me, and there would have been a big bombing strike on them anyway. But another of the Tupolevs going down, Su-17 cluster taken out, and the MiG-23 MLD there just about managing to stay alive, but a lovely air engagement. There was lots of really cool air engagements in this game, and I'm glad that I'm able to show them off. My Maverick intruder came in on the left, and I actually managed to snipe the T-55 leader in the backside of this sector in preparation to push in with my own leader, and now I'm actually going to make the play for it. So I figured there's only one place here that's not going to be seen like line of sight wise by the enemy, and it's this one little building that hasn't been destroyed yet. So I'm going to be just moving in and parking behind it so that we can't be shot at by HGMs. They will also be able to arty us or bomb us, but any direct fire ordnance won't be able to hit the mark, and that's going to allow us to at least contest that and bring it back down to a +2. We're also going to want to contest the right soon, but Kamandara is moving in with his push. He's got the M113 Lynxes moving forwards to provide recon while the Leopard C1s move up, and that's going to allow him to potentially kill the enemy leader here and also capture it for himself, which would be fantastic, as it would actually push us to a +2. So artillery starting to come in on the M60, but this M60 is decently armoured, and you'll see that the Super Cobra there just managed to kill the Barusa before it could fire, so that was a lovely kill. Enemy leader did get killed, but so did Kamandara's, so things are equal for the time being. I fortunately have a USMC leader coming in with the rocket helicopter to drop in there, and we're still able to keep the M60 on the left. And this M60 full capped this because I killed the T-55, but they have now replaced it with a Chaika, so that's going to have to go at some point. We've got the Bronco in here. It's a new aircraft. It's a recon aircraft. Sounds pretty cool. I love the sound effects on the new aircraft. The Tomcats especially sound very cool. But this has some Zunis on it. It's also got the A9. It's obviously just a recon aircraft though, so I'm trying to like recon across the front with the Bronco at the moment. Harry is currently hanging out further up to prevent, or to try and kill the Trica was why I sent them over there. Prevent the cap. Another Su-25 getting taken out by the Eyehawk. A Tomcat getting a little bit too close for comfort against that AA. Bronco's coming over, unfortunately gonna get absolutely smashed to pieces by the same AA. And you'll notice here the concentration of infantry, and there's not really much I can actually do about that. Because I've got rocket planes, I've got AT planes, I've got, you know, howitzer artillery, but nothing that can really like kill a lot of infantry in a large radius very quickly. So I'm kind of struggling to take out all of this infantry at the moment. And the Harriers are going to have to focus on the Stärker if they don't want to get shot down. So we're bringing those in to try and suppress the enemy AA, but we're still being shot at by those missiles in the meantime. And yeah, the second Harrier doesn't really have much luck. So we managed to get in on the right-hand side here, and Kamandara moved in his motorized rifle leader. My USMC leader is kind of waiting to be put in. I probably could have moved it in a little bit sooner before Kamandara brought his. I've got some riflemen there ready and waiting to solidify that point and potentially push forwards. You'll see here I'm going to be going for the unload orders further forwards now. So on the left, the M60 just sitting in there, crucially capturing that sector. Labs, unfortunately, on the wrong end of both a T-55 and an Mi-17. But at this point, I figured I probably don't need to control this tree line. As long as I have like this tree line secured and sort of units at range, they're not going to be able to come out of here and contest the sector without taking losses. So I figured I would go defensive in the middle, continue to keep eyes on the flanks to make sure that we can, you know, win the game ultimately, and that was the plan. So riflemen currently pushing across the open. The poor chaps here being forced into entrenched enemy infantry, but we do have enough men that we're starting to overwhelm them, and Karandara is starting to move up some units to assist. So that's good for my Marines there. Infantry is continuing to try and get into this sector, but Taki is starting to really lock it down now. He's got some good units on the flank, like nice recon on the flank, so he's got eyes on everything. We can even see the Grad back here. That is next to a Kalmar, which is the new hovercraft of the Soviet Marines. That's really cool to see it. But it's very far forwards and it's not behind cover, so it's a very risky place for that Kalmar to be. I think at this point I hadn't really noticed that that was a Kalmar, otherwise I probably would have focused it a lot more. As when all these new units come out, you have to kind of retrain your brain as to what to actually focus down. Regardless, USMC Marines are making some progress. One's actually managed to get into the tree line there, but the second one, unfortunately, on the bad side of the K-29, as these new naval helicopters come in and absolutely ruin my Marines' day. And yeah, unfortunate. One thing that's really cool that unfortunately you can't hear too much in the replay is the voice lines. I think the voice lines for the US Marines are fantastic. I was really enjoying them when I was playing this game live. I do play a WARNO live every Sunday on my stream at twitch.tv/VulcanHDGaming. So if you're interested in watching more WARNO gameplay, then do make sure to come along. But either way, USMC Riflemen engaging the Motostreltsy, unfortunately getting hit by the grenade launcher at range, so that's not going to be very fun. Grenade launchers are still very good for controlling infantry at range, so do not sleep on them, even if they're kind of technically less effective as they were before, than they were before. Yeah, still waiting for a chance to use that leader on the right hand side. Kind of just waiting for my opponent to make a move in the center, because I'm technically not having to do anything right now. I'm not going to like force my way to India, because I know that he has like a rather large concentration of units in the center of the map, and that does get validated a little bit later on. Just kind of keeping an eye on the flanks, bringing up my air force, so the intruders coming in again, and they're going to be looking to get Mavericks onto the T-55s. We managed to take out one. Unfortunately, the second one stays alive. We do have more Mavericks to fire, so those will come back around shortly, but one of those intruders gets out of there because the AA panics him, and then this one gets hit by the Cub, ends up flying in the wrong direction, and gets shot down by AA afterwards. Just getting some rockets there onto the Cub. I don't think I managed to kill the Cub with that rocket, and then we got way too close to the enemy here in the center of the map, and that goes down as well. So a little bit of a mistake on my part, getting pretty overzealous with the use of my aircraft. But alas, yeah, for those of you who are more of a broken arrow person, you don't get units back in this game, so if you lose a unit like this with the seed, it's not good. I brought this one forwards because there was a massive concentration of enemy AA in this forest, so I was hoping that I'd be able to get a seed missile on target, but it appears like you might need like direct line of sight to really make use of those. Anyway, a bit of a push coming our way. 2 T-72 M1s and a T-55 AM1. We've got some infantry moving across the open, starting to move up the recon as well. But I am really starting to be prepared for this. Like M60s on the flank over here, we'll be able to cover that approach. We have a bunch of units in the tree line here that are ready to move forwards and kind of try and ambush these tanks. So as I was saying at the beginning of the game, these M60s with the 23 penetration are really, really scary, and this is going to show you why. What bam, one shot, side shot into a T-72 M1. This is a 160 point tank, just what, like one bang to that T-72 M1. Really, really scary at close range. Fortunately, don't manage to get a second shot into the tanks there and take some damage myself, which is obviously not ideal. This one getting some good damage into the front armor, but at range it's going to do way less, of course. Su-25 on the way. Ihawk is ready. We got the Humvee there with the Ihawk still, so we still got that 3 veterancy. Fortunately, my scouts get killed by the enemy rocket artillery. Su-25 not going to be able to hit the M60 as he loses line of sight. And Ihawk's going to try its best to finish that off. Hornet there coming across and doing it for me, so that was nice. And also the Tomcat coming in. I did end up bringing up a lav to fix up my M60 there, so we can maintain that command. And I'm now also moving up this USMC into the sector, just in case I try and contest the sector here. I'll be able to stop them from gaining any points from it. Yes, Captain. So you can see here the lav, quite far back, but the SIGINT is activated, which basically tells me there's probably infantry on the edge of this tree line, because there's probably nothing here. There's probably nothing further to the left, so it's most likely in that tree line. And this is the great thing about like spreading out these units, because you can use them to triangulate where enemy units are. Like for example, this one is not seeing anything within the big blue circle, so you can see the big white circle on the outside. Oh yeah, big CL there. You can see what I was saying about validating how many units I have standing up against me right now. I feel like if he were to just pick up all his units and just attack me towards the sector, yes, he'd probably take a lot of losses, but ultimately he'd probably win because of the sheer amount of forces that are there. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, SIGINT can be really used to triangulate where forces are using the circles. So we can kind of tell, like, maybe there's a unit further to the right on this tree line and not to the left, which would then enable me to direct my artillery to the right of that tree line, because the two circles technically overlap. Bronco coming in there. I was hoping to finish off the T-72, but the big clump of artillery firing away once again. And I did end up losing an M110 lazily to enemy artillery. So yeah, a bit of counterbattery taking place there. But I did bring in the supply here, the CH-53. Very cool looking helicopter. Nice to see that added to the game. Another nice unit with the 2nd US Marine. This Marine division is probably the best division, in my opinion, in the Landjet DLC. It just has so much flavor to it. There's so many cool units like the Tomcat, the helicopters, like not even just like the attack helicopters like the Super Cobra, but the supply helicopters. You got the upgraded M60s. You got all of the different marine infantry and the lavs that go with them. Really cool stuff. So yeah, big fan of this division, and that's why I thought I would cover it first on the channel. Amtrak's also another one coming in. They have that dual MG grenade launcher combination that can really rip infantry if they're allowed to keep firing. But these are the AT4 variant I was talking about of the USMC riflemen that are now going to be preparing to take any attack onto Hotel, because it's going to be a matter of time really before, only a matter of time before the counterattack comes in, because the left side's been completely broken open. Taki's done a great job of eventually breaking down his opponent, and he's going to be pushing it all the way to Alpha almost. We did attempt to push out of Lima with my rifleman and the support of Kamandara, but that didn't quite go to plan. So we're now dealing with a counterattack here. Nice cluster coming in from the Hornets, going to prevent them from contesting the cap there, pushing us back to a +4. Another cluster coming in there, taking out 2 T-55s. Both of the Hornets go down, but good kills. And this late into the game, with 4 minutes left on the clock, it's certainly worth it. My opponent trying to move forwards now, only bringing in the T-55 leader first, attempting to smoke his way into the backside of the sector, but I was ready and waiting for that one, with both the rifleman with the AT4, the rifleman with the Law. We got 2 assaultmen there with the smalls as well, so no tanks are getting past that if they want to cap. Neither are any infantry really, as more and more of my reinforcements arrive. The USMC Amtraks have arrived, and that's going to be even more infantry ready to go. We've got a bunch of helicopters pushing forwards. That was one thing that I was a little bit lacking. I didn't really have much SHORAD in position, no stingers or anything else. I mean, I think this division I only had stingers in them, so it would have been that or the Broncos. But the Lav here actually managing to do a decent job with its autocannons, and that was nice until the Hornet comes over and takes that kill. But loads of artillery is going to force those back. Or loads of AA. I do like how AA stresses aircraft and pushes it back. That was probably one of the nicest changes that's come to the game since it released into early access a long time ago. Obviously it's been full release now for a while, but they constantly improve WARNO. I love that about the devs of this game. It's always adding new features, changing features. Patches are pretty frequent. So great stuff. Anyway, OT-62 taken out as well. Important kill because it's another leader. Rocket artillery, or sorry, rockets from the helicopters absolutely smashing my riflemen, so I'm going to have to take them out of that building. But we're going to be looking for the enemy sort of leader infantry, as he was just trying to get as many leaders in as possible, but I was just kind of expecting him to select all and attack at some point, but it never came. So whilst it would have been bloody for him, I got all of these AT4 USMC riflemen ready to go. We got the standard Lord riflemen in there as well. A couple labs and stuff sitting about. It would have been really scary. I also made a big sort of net of HGMs. So I got the Super Cobra there, we got the Humvee TOW 2s, we got the TOW 2 missiles. But as you can see, after 38 minutes and 9 seconds, it is a minor victory for our team. 6,390 kills to 4,930 losses. For myself, Dylan absolutely smashing his opponent with a nice 1.74 KD. Taki really getting the better of his opponent in the later game, leading him to almost 8,000 kills. And same with Kamandara, really hard fought right side. 7,800 kills, 7,700 losses. Yeah, really fun game. Awesome comeback. Honestly, it got so close to us losing that. And then we managed to kind of stop the bleeding with those command units and get the game back in our favor. So that was really nice. Tomcat performing really well. I really do like the Phoenixes. They can be kind of unreliable at range because of the 40% accuracy, but it gives you a lot of presence. That it's the same as the MiG-31s. You can bring, that if the enemy brings out an aircraft, you can immediately bring yours in and kind of counter it, or at least force it away, if not kill it, which is really great. Rifleman, really good. Super Cobra definitely performed well this game as well. The rocket planes, or the rocket helicopters, sorry, I managed to get a lot of value out of those in the end. You can see the Lavs did okay. The M60 was nice. Especially the upgraded M60s with the good penetration, really, really nice. I didn't get too much value out of the artillery, unfortunately. There was a few kills, but also some friendly fire, so yeah. I think the artillery rework is interesting. It has definitely toned down artillery massively in WARNO, which may be a good thing, but it certainly needs some work, because I think like counterbattery is almost too easy now in some cases, especially when it comes to using something like rocket artillery. If you're bringing in a grad and firing 40 rockets, you're almost certainly going to get counterbattery now by enemy tube artillery. So you've got to be super careful with when and how you use them. So do bear that in mind. But with that all said, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this replay commentary of WARNO for the first time in forever. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.